Hey everybody, Dauntless here, and welcome back to another episode of Space Quest Zero Replicated. And I believe this could be the very last one because I seem to remember that this is near the end. I just should check this door. The west door looks as though it leads into some hallway. It is locked. The right door leads out into the side of the facility. There is an open shaft in the wall. Okay, so they're definitely gearing me toward this shaft, so. Oh, really? Holy crap! You are crawling inside the belly of a large machine surrounded by various cables and switches. You find yourself able to move about rather easily. Easily, that is, if you keep your hands on the larger cables. The smaller ones look rather flimsy. Remember to keep your hands on the larger cables and everything should be fine. Uh, the whatever. So if you're wondering, you did notice that I had a save named Cables. It's because I started this episode and got called about 3-4 times in a row, and it was just like, forget it. Speaking of which, I'm muting my phone. That way I can just ignore it. There we go. Okay, now let's get this done. So you'll notice, I think you can see his hands right there. That's what you want to make sure is touching the cable. Okay. And you just got to stay on these, on the thicker cables here. I'm curious what happens. Zap! Oh, that was a shocking experience. Oh. The same pun. You can do better than that. You can come up with something new. Oh, wow. Now the dog has to jump in on the noise making, does he? There. Now, let's get out of here. Oh. Oh, it's the insurance salesman from Space Quest 2. They're basically making this a like a lead-in. This is why it was an army of insurance salesmen rather than an army of, biological cloned super soldiers. This seems to be one of the rooms in the production facility actually involved in production. There is an opening to the west, and a missing panel in the floor through which you entered this room. Obvious cables line the floor, apparently powering this machine which seemed to turn these faceless, mindless clones into their programmed counterparts. Now that's a lot of life insurance salesmen. Okay, I thought that was a door there. The door to the east is locked. There seems to be no way to open it. There is an open doorway to the west, however. You guys are just keeping me right on this here path, aren't you? Hang on. That does not compute. These parts are completely useless and are much too heavy to carry around. I didn't say carry them, I'm just saying sabotage them. Why does this look bad? This room is strange. A gust of wind periodically blows from the chasm below, apparently pulled by fans above. The fans seem powered by the above generator, which you assume powers the force field ahead. What am I carrying? A gust of wind periodically blows from the chasm below. If I'm gonna try something stupid, because why not? Since you are unable to walk properly, the fates have decided that your demise is most appropriate. Darn! Hey, you never know. Just throw something really generic in there. Oh, there's... What are they telling me here? What do I need to do? Wait a minute. You craft a fine Molotov cocktail. Be careful with it. You light the cocktail and throw it upwards. Ha ha ha! I actually didn't even remember that one. Aided by the gust of wind from the chasm, the bottle floats all the way to the top of the chamber. Bang! Ah! That, you know, secret arsonist inside of me, just figuring out Molotov cocktails. I was wondering why in the world they had let me keep that, they let me keep the brandy. Another example of a puzzle where I'm not sure, I guess I just realized if I hadn't grabbed that towel, would I have been able to solve that puzzle? A small lightsaber rests on the table. Since there is a much tougher looking guy in front of you wielding a saber and poised to strike, you accept the offer. The ominous figure blocks your way. His face is unnaturally dark, and he is cloaked in blue and purple. After a few moments, he begins to speak. So, Mr. Wilco, you have found your way into my lair. As you no doubt have guessed, I am Ale. As you probably know, my little operation is only one of many. Dr. Vohal spared no expense to build his army. I suppose you have some sort of transportation waiting outside. You'll never get to it alive. On guard. Get ready. Oh God. Oh, this is block. Oh, I see. Okay, block. This is actually kind of interesting. I gotta hit this guy how many times? I think I gotta hit him about 50 times. Who knew? Roger Wilco is a master of the lightsaber! I wonder what happens if I just keep attacking like this. It seems to be working. Oh! Oh, this is actually kind of interesting. Like, obviously, it's very simple, but... Still a better Star Wars story than The Last Jedi. And pretty much any of the other modern Star Wars movies, honestly. Except Rogue One. Rogue One was actually really good. double crotch hit. You have defeated Ale. Inconceivable. Still, the clones will crush you. You have no chance to survive. Make your time. You explain to Ale that his clones are now nothing more than mere insurance salesmen. His face contorts, his body goes limp, and you are left alone. Outside, you hear a ship approach. Ale's lifeless body is dotted with small scorch marks and evidence of your supreme skills. Other than that, there is nothing interesting about his person or belongings. But I want his lightsaber. Get in! Oh, it's the goons! Nice. And there's the asteroid fortress. And there's us booking it. Let's get out of here! Who were those guys? Dunno, gorillas maybe? I wonder why they didn't follow us. They were too busy taking over. I'll bet they were after the clones. Won't they be surprised? Why is that? I switched the cartridges. The clones are useless now. I'm impressed, Mr. Wilco. Oh, really? I thought this was a rescue mission. Instead, I'm the getaway vehicle. So where are we going now? Monolith Burger! How about my place? Oh my. Your score is 89 of a possible 101. Wow! Roger actually got lucky for once. I wonder what the other few points were that I missed. But anyway, this is a fantastic game. I think that this really did capture the original Space Quest feel. It did great with its puzzles. Its puzzles were very well done. The music, I mean, obviously you can't argue with classic Space Quest stuff. I don't... This is different music. They made it a slight update to the music. I like that. That's actually, and it comes across good as well. Of course, you know, Space Quest 3 was the one that basically said, forget the entire theme song, we're just redoing the whole thing. Let me do this. Alright. There we go. Okay, so really quickly, my basic review is that it is very, very well done. I'm not sure how many of those puzzles I mentioned where if I had forgotten to grab something, if I had, would I lose later on. And obviously, I've played Space Quest before, and I played this game before, so I'm kind of used to taking everything. But if you don't think to take certain things, then, you know, I guess you'd be kind of like, I'm not sure if it would have you that stuck. I mean, there was the hook, the hanger, and the towel were together. When you take one, you take the other. But, yeah. It's like the crowbar. Like, I'm not sure, did they, is it something where if you don't get that crowbar, you're basically toast? Now, yeah, overall, it was just very, very well done. It was a very charming game. The graphics were beautiful. I'm actually very impressed because making those old EGA scenes, making a VGA scene is hard. But when you get like stylized graphics and stuff, you know, if you know Photoshop really well, you can make some really good, you know, kind of stylized animated backgrounds. It's, you know, I'm not good at it, but I know that there's a lot of people who know how to use Photoshop well enough that they can create some really nice, backgrounds and decor with with Space Quest, like these old EGA games. I feel like it's almost more effective to do bit paint and sit there and you have to go through, trying to draw the lines, do the pixels, make sure the shadowing comes across, and the colors are important because those old games, they were only EGA graphics. They didn't. It was like what, 16-bit. So you have to be careful because you could make it really colorful and everything, but uh, there's a certain thing where if you use too much, if you use basically 256 colors and all that kind of stuff, it can actually kind of make it look not as authentic. And I don't know if that's just me. I just noticed that every once in a while I'll play if I were to play a game like, if I compared this to another text parser game like Trilby's Notes, which I can't play on this channel because I'm trying to keep it PG-13, and that one definitely has a lot of blood and stuff in it. But the coloring in Trilby's Notes is something where you can look at it and go, "Holy crap! This is definitely a higher color set than originally." Whereas in original EGA games, the backgrounds were extremely colorful. It was vibrant, but that's because they didn't have a bunch of the in-between colors. You may notice like little things like Roger's hair is the same color as the sunlight. So you may have noticed in certain areas, I'll walk by the sun, or I'll walk through a sunbeam, and all of a sudden his hair is like blending in. That's kind of how I like it because it's a certain feel to those old style games. And I know I'm kind of doing the whole want to maintain my nostalgia level, but I guess for me personally, if you are going to make a Space Quest fan made game, and especially you're going to do an EGA version, you've got to. You want to try and recreate that feel as much as you can while putting your own twist on it, like what happened here. You went to Labian, and it was another Labian game where you went to that sort of planet style, but it had its own puzzles, it had its own identity. It did a really good job of taking that feel and applying it to his own creation, which worked out very, very well. I really enjoyed this one. So far, I think this one might be my favorite, but again, the only other one I played so far is Decisions of the Elders, and you know how I felt about that. I did not like it, but I will say that its graphics and stuff were good. I like that they put custom music in there, and stuff like that. It's just, I think it felt more like it was trying to attack the original Space Quest style. So you would try and use something, and it would make fun of you for trying to use stuff on things. Like, what, you just randomly clicking on stuff? And I'm like, yeah, that's kind of how it works, especially with point and click. So, I don't know. They deviated a lot from the original styles and some of the feel and things like that, and then they made fun of you for trying to play it like it was. So, after a while, like with that one, it felt like it was an attack on the original Space Quest games and how they were played. And I don't know. Obviously, the guy may not have thought it was doing that. I don't know, but it just seems like it was a game that was made by somebody who did not like Space Quest and wanted to kind of make fun of it for the entire time. And it would have that wouldn't have been as bad. But then the narrator is constantly getting on your case. So it was like, we're making fun of Space Quest and we're making fun of you for liking Space Quest, sort of thing. That's just what I got from it. But this game did it much better. It took that feel, and again, it did its own thing with it. It had its own adventure, and I'm really happy with it. So next up, obviously, you know what the next game is. Space Quest: The Lost Chapter. I will be jumping into that as soon as I can. I'm not sure if I'll get into it today. Maybe. We'll see. I do like that game. I remember it was the first one I ever played, so I'll try and get into it as soon as I can. But I was also thinking of when I post episodes and stuff, if I have any good firefighting stories, I'll try and tell you. Like just kind of add a little touch. I'll put it on the end, so if you don't want to hear it, you don't have to sit there and skip through it to get to the content that the video actually is. But I figure how many people really hear stories about firefighting and stuff like that, what happens at these things. And obviously I'm brand new. I'm literally 2 days in, and so I won't have like crazy, fantastic, bizarre stories yet, but I'm hoping that I'll come across some really interesting stuff to be able to tell you guys, so you can kind of hear some fun stories like that. But anyway, thanks again for dropping by. I really appreciate it. Please subscribe. I would definitely appreciate more subscribers, more views. If you really like what I do here, one thing I'll say is let people know the guy who did Snail Trek, he ended up actually putting on Twitter that I made a playthrough of his game. And I felt so happy because, my God, was Snail Trek awesome. And I really, really hope that I hope he continues to do stuff. He has another game called Cascade Quest. I am going to be checking that out. There's a couple fan-made games that I actually need to do as well. I think they're pretty short, so I might be able to, bang them out and get the stuff done. But yeah, but if you want to, it's up to you. Please, direct people to the channel a little bit. Let people know on Twitter. I do have a Twitter, so just say stuff and be like, hey, here's this guy. He played this game, and you don't even say the whole channel. Send people the videos you really enjoyed. But I would always appreciate that kind of stuff, coverage, and a little bit of free advertising. But thanks again, and as always, I hope you all have a great rest of your day.